Hey friends, welcome back to Joyful Homestead. It is a beautiful late winter day, which means a good day for projects. So we need to be working on and completing a project we've had in the works for quite a while, and that's for our chickens. We have loved having chicken tunnels. So we have gone most of the way around the space that we wanted to have them, and we're gonna finish them up. So Dan's gonna show you shortly how to make them. But I wanted to tell you first real quick, there are two big reasons why this has been one of the best decisions we ever made on this homestead. I love our chickens. We decided first several years ago when we got them that we were gonna try free ranging. It was a tough call because it's really good for them. It is, but you are going to lose them to predators. And after a while, it was hard for me to continue in that way. So I asked Dan if we could try some of the things I'd seen online, some of the concepts and ideas. So we constructed what has worked out really well. The first reason that we love them so much is for their safety. Because we were losing them free ranging, we now have them in the tunnels and we don't lose any. These girls are very well protected. And then the second reason is because it gives them something to do. Did you know that chickens like to work? They like to have something to do. They like to keep busy. It's really kind of cool that they were just kind of designed that way. So when we put these tunnels around our garden, it helps in two different ways. It helps keep the weeds from encroaching into our garden because those girls are just grabbing them. As soon as the weeds start to grow in, they're eating them up. And same thing with the bugs. They grab up the bugs that try to head into this area, they eat those, and then those bugs are not landing on our garden plants. So we've kept them really busy. I looked into a lot of different ideas online and found what I thought would be perfect with a right angle triangle, starting with the foundation of our bunny fence, which is the fence we keep all the way around our garden to keep the critters out. So that was a good place to start, and then we added the tunnel part onto it. So these have been really super sturdy. You can see, I can't push these down. We've literally seen a hawk dive bomb the tunnel once to try to get the hen that was just underneath that spot, and that hawk could not penetrate it and the chicken was fine. So that makes me really happy that they're really safe in here. Think about your available space for your chicken flock or the flock to come if you're planning on that. What can you use? Can you make your garden and chickens work together in harmony by building tunnels around yours? If your garden is too small or you don't have a garden at all, that's okay. Think about what other opportunities you have on your property for that. Do you have an outbuilding? Can you build the tunnels around the outer walls of that or around the perimeter of your backyard fence? I think there are a lot of possibilities for you to make this a winter project for yourselves and for your chickens. They will love you for it. I'm going to turn you over now to Dan, who's going to show the materials and the construct that we use for our tunnels.
Now it's my turn. I get to show you what we believe is an elegant design for a chicken tunnel, or as people like to say, a chunnel. Our idea of a chicken tunnel is one that's a triangle. Okay, so we've got, as Heidi said, the bunny fence, the outside fence of the garden. What we're going to do is we're going to apply a secondary fence as the hypotenuse of that triangle, if you will. And what that's going to do is that's going to keep the chickens in that chunnel. We'll go out and we'll build it in a little bit, but I wanted to show you the materials first before we started. You will need for this project a roll of fencing. This is a welded wire fence for farm and field. It's a 36-inch high, which is 3 feet. And I've got a 50-foot long section. Again, if you have a smaller area, you might want to go shorter, but remember this can be cut to size as well. And then the openings in the fence are 2 inches by 4 inches. You can also get smaller openings. You can definitely get chicken fencing. The traditional chicken fencing is very, very small openings. We don't really need that for this because what we're thinking is that our chickens are going to use this tunnel during the day, during the hours when you won't have raccoons, you won't have possums or skunks, that sort of thing, being predators. The predators that you would see during the daytime would be hawks and potentially maybe dogs, canine type of animals like that. So this would be sufficient as far as the size of the openings. All right, so we've talked about the fence a little bit. Also, you will need fiberglass stakes. Now, I get these specifically from Tractor Supply. I don't know anybody else that has these stakes in fiberglass like this. I use these in the garden for lots of different things, but one really good use of this is as a support for the fence, because as you get a length of fence, it wants to sort of start caving in. And if you put these every 5 feet, I found that it works really well. I zip tie them. Speaking of the zip ties, let's talk about that. I use white or black, it doesn't matter. If you want it to be a little bit more camouflaged, you want to use black. 3-inch is a good size, but you can go with the smaller ones as well. And what you're going to be doing basically is you're going to be zip tying the 2 fence pieces together, and then you'll also be zip tying those support posts to the fence, and it will all fit together like that. So you'll need a lot of these, maybe 100 of them for a 50-foot section.
Every time Dan has made one of these sections of tunnel, he has found it easiest to unroll the fence completely and let it relax and flatten over a few days, using bricks all along to help out with that.
It's been a couple days. My 50-foot fence panel is now flattened out. The bow is out of it with those bricks sitting there. It's been enough time now where I can go ahead and I can start working with the installation. In the meantime, I have cut my stakes down to 38 inches. These are 4-foot stakes, 48 inches with the spike, and I cut the non-spike end down 10 inches. That was 36 inches for the panel, plus 2 inches extra, and I'll show you why I did that in a moment. It's time now to install these stakes on our panel. When I do my sections of the fencing, I always like to have about 5 feet between the stakes. These stakes are supposed to support the fence panel, and I noticed that anytime I go longer than 5 feet, I get a lot more droop. So 5 feet seems to be a good number. So for a 50-foot panel, the math is 10 sections at 5 feet, and then an 11th one at the very end, the terminal end. I start always on one end, and you notice that when the panel comes out, it has these extra little ends that can be used to wrap around. I keep those on the panel because I can use that to connect sections of the panels together. Usually what I'll do is I'll start about 1 cell in and set it up so that the top is even with the panel, and then my 2 inches hangs over here. Explaining the 2 inches, the reason for that is because this is the stake end, and what will happen is when I install this panel in the garden, this 2 inches will allow for the panel to drive into the ground so that it's not accessible by animals or by the chickens to get out. This will drive into the ground and it'll hold it in place really well. That's why that 2 inches is there. I've tied the first stake to the end of my fence panel. I've used 4-inch zip ties. They need to be sturdy enough and long enough to be able to withstand the weather, animal movement, things like that. So make sure they're sturdy enough. I've also tied them in diagonal cells across this wire here. That gives a little bit more support. If I did it on adjacent cells, there could be some slippage. When I tie them, I tie 3 per stake. 1 in the middle and then 1 on the bottom as well. The middle and the top ones can vary and be staggered depending on where you want them. Might give you a little more support stake to stake, but the bottom one I always recommend putting on the very bottom wire. It does seem to help the most to keep that in place. Then I just go ahead and cut the tail off of the zip tie so that it's a little bit invisible, and I move on to the next one, 5 feet away. One of the other benefits of doing 5 feet at a time and only affixing the stakes in 5-foot intervals is that at the end of your line, you don't necessarily have to put the last couple of stakes. And in fact, it's really important to know how many linear feet you need for your fence. For example, in my case, I have 50 linear feet of fencing, but I think I'm about 42 feet that I'll need. And so the last couple of stakes I'm not going to put on yet until I'm actually in the garden. When I'm in the garden, then I'll be able to put additional stakes on as needed. Otherwise, I can just trim them off the rest of that fencing. Now we've moved our 50-foot piece of fencing over to the garden. I really recommend that you do your groundwork where you're putting the stakes
on the fencing as close to your install place as possible, because it can get awfully heavy. You'll need a couple of people probably to move that to your install area. We are doing an extension of our chicken wire, and so we'll show you a little bit about how to connect if you have an extension of your tunnels. If you're starting from scratch, then you really don't have that, and you'll want to make sure that you block off the two ends, and we'll show you what we do on that. You may have a different idea as well, but what we do to block off an end. This is the existing chicken tunnel that's been here a while, and this is the new. I've started to go ahead and pull these ends together. Remember earlier I had mentioned that we leave a little bit on the end. These become hooks, and it's really nice, both on the existing piece and on the new piece, to just wrap those around each other, and that creates a weave that the chickens can't get through. Notice also the angle of the tunnel. Remember, we want a triangle here. So we have the outside garden fence, and then we've got this fence here, and they create a right triangle. The chickens can easily get in there, and then once these stakes drive down into the ground, or there's some weight put on the end of them, those won't move at all. And you see how I can push down on this and nothing can get through. So those chickens are safe in there. I've just started this. What I'm going to do is lean this against the existing fence or structure, and then just go down through and start doing the zip ties. You want to be sure that you are even all the way down on your chicken tunnels. Unfortunately for me, I have this fencing where I can go 1, 2, 3 cells down. So I know that this fourth wire is the one that I want to line everything up against. I've already put one of these zip ties on here. I do about 3 zip ties per 5-foot section between the stakes. That seems to make it really solid without being overkill. And you just basically do that, tie them tight, and they can't get out. And I've got a third one down here. So that section is now done. I'll go ahead and snip these tails off. These 4x4 posts are the outside of our garden fence. Our garden fence is affixed to that. And so as I'm working in the tunnel area and starting to move that down the line, I'm running into these occasionally. If you have something like that, it's very easy to work around it. All you have to do is take wire cutters and just snip so that the obstacle can fit through that fence, and then go ahead and do the zip ties on either side of that obstacle so that it holds really well around it. The chickens can't get through here, and I've navigated around the fence really well. So let's talk about corners. In addition to the fence posts, our garden has corners that we need to navigate. It's an obstacle that you need to engineer around. And what we've done in our design is we've actually acquired these cages. They're galvanized cages that have the angle already there. All we have to do then is attach these sharp ends, wrap them around on each side, and then continue down our line. And then be careful in the back that there aren't any openings. The front is fine, but the back might have some openings where chickens could get back behind and out. If you don't have the resource to do this cage concept, you can always cut your wire at an angle so that it miters right in the center. And then go ahead and put one of your stakes at the center, connect them. You'll have a small opening, smaller probably than the rest of your tunnel here on the corner, but it shouldn't be a problem because chickens like to navigate through small spaces. This is an inside corner. On an outside corner around a building, an outbuilding or something like that, you'll just want to remember that your angles are opposite. I finally reached the end of my fence. I've cut it off right here with these sharp pieces sticking out. If you want, you can finish this off with a panel that you cut yourself. That's fine. What I like to do though is I like to use a hay bale or a straw bale, maybe stack them up or just shove one right on those spikes, and it will keep that end nice and tight. If you then want later on, you can replace it. You can take it off, let your chickens run if you wanted to do that as well. So there's a lot of flexibility there. Well, our hens seem to really love their new territory. It's fun to watch them explore new things. And our chicken tunnel is now done, our complete project around the garden. This is only one design, of course, but it's the one that's worked best for us. It's really a great idea to be able to have a synergy between your garden and your tunnels with the chickens going on around the outside. And one thing I like about it is that I can pull these bricks up, and at any point I can just lift these panels because they're hinged right here. And I can scoop out manure into the garden as compost. I can scoop things in for the chickens to scratch at and feed. And yet at the same time, this will protect from hawks and other predators during the daytime. At night, they go to their roost in the chicken coop. I lock them up, and then they do it all again the next day. It's really exciting to watch. It's really exciting to be part of it. Now, of course, like I said, it's one design, but I hope this has given you some great ideas for your own chicken tunnels. And join us back in the future. Please like and subscribe.
Look at them, working hard in the new section already.